Hello and welcome to Elizabeth's Craft Room. Today we're going to do this cute file folder project. You might have seen a few of these online, but I bet you haven't seen this one because I came up with this one. And it is so sweet. I just love these type of cards. And these are made with the Stampin' Up envelope punch board. You might well have seen my video on making envelopes with this. If not, just scroll back and you can have a little look. So this cute project, we're going to use the etc. paper. And just to show you, this is all from that same 12 by 12 inch pack, which comes at £9.95. This is also from the same paper, and this little tag piece here is from that paper. So you can see it's quite a vintagey look, but I loved the tape measure and I thought I'd like to do something kind of sewing-y related, so I've made up this little spool and put a little pin on and used some of the sewing kind of designer paper on the inside as well. So I'll show you how all this is done. So we're going to start off with a piece of Naturals Ivory cardstock. And this is an A4 piece cut in half, and I'm going to score this at 10.5 centimetres. And then I'm going to cut off on one side, just about, where are we? Just about ½ an inch of cardstock there. Okay. Now the next stage is actually to add the outer piece of designer paper. So I've cut that, and we'll see if we've got it about right. We have. So that is actually measuring in at 4 3/4 inches by 5 7/8 of an inch. Do you notice I'm swapping from centimetres to inches? That is because I was taught in both, and I'm the jack of all trades and master of none when it comes to measurements. But because our look, isn't that lovely as well? Because our cardstock in Europe is in centimetres, sometimes that is the measurement that makes more sense. Okay, so I've just stuck that onto the front. And now I'm going to bring in the envelope punch board and show you how to do these tabs. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up the edge of your card with the edge wall on the punch. So it's the far left of the punch, and just on the wall there. And you're going to punch. And then you're going to line this side up with about 3 inches. Now you can actually make these tabs however big or small you like, but I'm going to do this one at 3 inches. And now we need to do the back one. We're going to do this one here. So we're going to flip that over and do the same thing again. Line that up there and line that up at 3 inches. Now we need to bring the trimmer back in, because we need to remove the pieces we don't want. And that is the pieces with the square edge on. They're going to come off. And what you do is you line up this centre groove with the middle there. And what I find is easier to get the blade into that centre piece, and you can actually feel it and then move away. Just seems to be a little bit easier to go in that direction. And again, we want that pointy end. We want that piece to come off. So I'm going to line that up. I'm going to start my blade in that centre piece and take that off. And that's how you make your tabs. Isn't that easy? If you get a rough piece at all, and I have found a couple of times I have got a rough piece there, you can just use a file, an emery board, if you haven't got a special crafting file. We do the sanding system. You could use a sanding block if you've got one of those. Okay, so there's our basic card. I'm going to show you now how to make the little cotton reel. And what I'm using there is a piece of crumb cake, and this is 1.5 by 1.5 inches, and then a little strip of this is Naturals White cardstock. You could use whatever colour you're going to have as your thread on there, and I'm just going to stick that across the middle. Doesn't really matter where, side to side, but just sort of in the middle of that square, and trim that off. I'm going to bring my punch board back in, and I'm going to line that centre piece up right in the middle of my punch board, and punch down, turn it round. Are you impressed with this? I love this idea. Yay! I've made a spool. And then I'm going to take a sponge, and I'm just going to put a little, let's get a little bit of crumb cake I think on here. And I'm just going to put a little bit of crumb cake on the edges there, just to give that a little bit of age. And then what I'm going to do is to wind my baker's twine around, just to give it a little edge, and then I'm going to use some snail across the back. That'll just hold that in place. And you don't need to fill the whole thing. And what I'm going to do is put a little notch in there and put my baker's twine through. Oops, there we go. Isn't that cute? Okay, and I'm going to pop that on with some dimensionals. Now, for my greeting, I'm using Oh Hello, and that is from the Oh Hello stamp set. That should have been the clue there, was in the question, wasn't it? And that's from there. And I'm going to stamp this with a little vanilla. This is how I keep my scraps of vanilla and white. Never throw a scrap away if you can still stamp on it. And I'm going to use soft suede. Stamp my Oh Hello. And I'm going to punch that out with the Artisan Label Punch. It's a bit tight, but you can just about fit that Oh Hello in there. There we go. And then I've got a piece of, this is Calypso Coral, and this is 1 3/4 inch square. And I'm just going to stick that on. I can find my glue. Actually, what I'm going to do first is bring this back in, turn it round, and use the corner rounder. Love this, because we don't have, this is like a 1/2 inch I think corner rounder. We don't have that size in a punch, in a regular punch, so we've now got that, which is great. I'm also going to bring in my pricking tool, make a little hole, and I'm going to use some of these vintage trinkets, and I have a little pin here. I thought that would go very well with our theme. So I'm just going to pop that through, and we will pop that up on some dimensionals. I'm getting a crafting pile going on off the screen, so things getting in a heap. I love the idea of working neatly, but it doesn't always work out like that. Okay, and that's going to go on the front. There we go. On the inside, I'm just going to Now, can you see this is like a pattern, which works really well in this card, and we can put it like this. But I thought the dark blue was a little bit dark to have showing on the front. That actually I think looks a lot better. Now you could put this right the way up to the top, stick it on at the beginning, and actually have that as part of the tab. But I wanted to see the tab here so that I could stamp on it. So I'm just going to put this one on here. I'm actually not going to use any of the blue on this one. I'm just going to glue that straight on. On my sample one, I will show you I did a bit of half and half. So I had the blue at the top and then the dark blue at the bottom. So I did it about half and half. But I'll just do this all over. There we go. And I'm going to also finish that off there with a little punch in that corner. And actually a little punch in that corner. I think that looks nice. It actually kind of rounds those pieces off. One final thing I'm going to do on this project is to stamp with a greeting. This is from Express Yourself, and I'm using Thinking of You. What I've done, because it's a clear mount, I've taken the always off. I can always put that back. I can always put always back on again, because you can just mount it on the clear block. But Thinking of You fits very nicely onto this little piece here. There we go. So I hope you've enjoyed the project at Elizabeth's Craft Room today, and do come back soon for more.